Welcome to Geeks with Kids' first gaming review episode. Now, for those of you that are new to the show, Geeks with Kids is a bi-weekly podcast from a parenting point of view. I am one of your hosts, Eric, and joining me this week is Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So this game is called Starlink Battle for Atlas, made by Ubisoft Toronto. It was released on Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. And the cool thing about this is for Nintendo Switch players, they get additional ships, no, not ships, one ship, an additional pilot, and additional exclusive missions, and those were all based on the Star Fox franchise. So you get Fox McCloud, you get an R-Wing, you get a bunch of Star Fox missions, which is incredibly awesome.
Pretty cool. Like I remember seeing the announcement of this game and thinking, oh, is this like a spiritual successor to Star Fox? Is that what they're trying to do here?
And you know what? Playing the game now, like we'll get into it more in depth, but it definitely feels like it could fit in that universe.
Yeah,
which I think is neat. Another interesting aspect about this game, we're going to go into the toy line. I know we're going to talk about it later, but this game is a
toys to life
game. So pretty much like Skylander or Amiibos for Nintendo or Disney Infinity. Oh, and Lego Dimensions.
I've got a plastic tub full of Lego Dimensions and a plastic tub full of Disney Infinity, and RIP both those games, because they were both pretty cool.
Yeah. I luckily only went over to the Amiibo land, so I have a handful of those just sitting there. Luckily, they still use them for the Switch. So basically, for those of you that aren't in the know, Toys to Life are games where you pretty much put a toy onto a sensor. The sensor reads it, and then you see it on screen. So in the case of Lego Dimensions, you would put together a Lego toy and you put it on there, and look, there's the Batmobile, or look, there's I don't know, Gandalf or something like that.
Yeah, and you put him on the platform, and you can play as him, and he you can go into specific levels and stuff. And it was the same thing with Disney Infinity, right? They include all these well-known Disney characters, and you can jump into their worlds and cast spells and level up characters and stuff.
So Starlink, for the base story, is about this spaceship crew from definitely Earth, because they talk about it.
Yeah, they mentioned they're from Earth. Actually, one of the characters believes the planet is called Dirt.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
No, it's Earth.
Yeah, you guys are crazy. So pretty much they're on this ship called the Equinox, which sort of seems like this giant ship, sort of like the Normandy from Mass Effect.
Yeah, like a mothership. Exactly.
And they're going around doing the Star Trek thing where they're exploring, right? And their leader gets kidnapped by an evil alien, and then they have to save him and save the universe.
But they're all like elite pilots, right? So not only are they on this ship traveling, exploring and stuff, but they have these fighter ships that they can use to explore with or to battle with, and so all the main characters happen to be pilots as well.
And luckily for us as consumers, because of this game is a Toys to Life game, there are many different pilots you can buy, and different ships you can buy, and different weapons and stuff. And you can inter-swap these different ships and weapons and wing types to get different combinations on screen.
The ships look really cool.
Yeah, the models are really nice. Like the detail's really cool. Like I really want that R-Wing. I don't have a Nintendo Switch yet, but I would just for this game, because the R-Wing looks great. The little Star Fox that comes with it. So the starter kit for Nintendo Switch is an R-Wing, 3 weapons, and 2 pilots. Whereas everyone else gets 1 ship, 3 weapons, and 1 pilot. Nintendo Switch people get something a little bit extra. Plus, they get a cooler looking ship. Yeah,
it's I don't know. We've been playing the PlayStation 4 version of this game, but I've been tempted to pick up the Switch version to try it out.
And just to have the, the little ship,
to have the little ship, and to have the flexibility of saying, hey, I want to explore the universe on the toilet.
Yeah. What? That's just confusing. But yeah, talking about the toys, like, do you think this is sort of a worrisome thing? Like we talked about Skylanders and Disney Infinity. They're definitely on the way out, if not already out already.
They are. They've already been canceled.
Has Skylanders been canceled?
No, Skylanders is still around. Disney Infinity was canceled, as well as Lego Dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time where you'd walk into even like a Walmart, like electronics section, and like an entire rack would just be Disney Infinity or more recently the Lego Dimensions characters. And now all of that stuff is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I've collected quite a bit of the Lego Dimensions stuff, but not all of it. And I'm walking around like, hey, I want to see if I can find maybe some clearance items that I can pick up, and they're all gone.
That's why Dollarama is so wonderful.
Oh, I've gotten a few from Dollarama. It actually worked out nice.
The good thing about like Lego Dimensions that they're Lego, so you can just use them in Lego building, like
They're
with your
still
kids.
Lego, yeah.
But like Disney Infinity, like those are just now little statues, which look really cool, but little statues.
They're nice looking, and they're like action figures, but you can't pose them or move them around or anything. They're really meant to be placed on a platform and played in a video game.
Yeah, I know this game is meant for kids 10 and up. Like it's E for everyone 10 and up. But this definitely speaks to the collector in me because every single model looks so good that I'm just like, oh, and different enough that I'm like, oh, I want that one on my shelf, and oh, I want that one on my shelf.
Yeah, they could put a dent in your credit card a little bit.
Yes, definitely, especially at this Christmas time area. Like we're in November, recording November 3rd, and we're just like, okay, well, I don't need to spend $120 on 4 ships. Wait, 3 ships.
Yeah, well, you have to spend the $100 on the base game, and then what is it, $40 for each additional ship. We're talking in Canadian dollars here.
Yeah,
but adjust your currency accordingly.
I think that because we both have the digital version of this game now. I think I might just get one of the little connectors for the controller. They're about $20-$30, so you can just connect ships up. But then you wouldn't get that original ship, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not important. Let's talk about the story in general. I talked about how it's sort of the standard space thing. What did you think of the story?
I thought it was kind of fun. Like it wasn't difficult to understand in any way. It seemed like it was very much aimed at a younger audience.
Yep, for sure.
I found that the voice acting was quite well done, but it seemed also very, very clear. And I'm going to say it was almost like Disney Channel. Like the way every character spoke with like a flawless accent, regardless of what planet they were from.
Yep. Yeah. There was this feeling, like, especially the art style and the way everyone's animated and how they're talking. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've seen Star Wars Resistance, that new Star Wars show. It reminds me of them. Like all the aliens look different, but they all sound, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like, yeah. They're very easy to understand. And the characters' names are all like very normal sounding names, like, but they're spelled differently. You'd have like Carl, and it would be spelled like Kayrle or something like that.
My favorite one is that there is this being that's on the Equinox that's like made up of millions of other beings. So sort of like this collective of entities that move as one, and the name that they gave it was the Judge.
Yeah.
Everyone working towards one thing. I thought that was really funny, and I thought, oh yeah, you named this alien the Judge just to make it easy.
But like a story like that, like a sci-fi story like that, I feel like if they tried to give it more of an adult kind of feel, especially with the voice acting and the names of the planets and the ships and the aliens and stuff, I feel like you'd start to lose some of the kids. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like some of that story could kind of slip away, especially with the younger kids playing. But when my son was playing it, like everything was making perfect sense to him. He knew exactly what was going on, and the characters spoke very, very, it was very intelligible, and you knew exactly what you were supposed to do. And everybody was so polite in the game too. Like all the characters were like,
even the gruff ones.
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just here to help. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
I feel like this game, it's being compared to No Man's Sky a lot, but story-wise, I think this game is like Mass Effect Andromeda Light.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to different planets, you're sort of cultivating it, not cultivating it, but you're meeting all these different people, you're collecting resources, and you're helping them, and you're moving to the next planet and the next planet.
Yeah, and it's because this one ship sort of entered this new sort of area of space that's sort of unexplored by them, and they're exploring it for the first time. And yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Andromeda Light.
And I think
put that on the box. Ubisoft, put that in the box.
I think this is a good game to introduce at least younger players into that type of sci-fi trope, like the explorers and then the going to different planets, and like if it's a stepping stone to the good Mass Effect games or harder sci-fi like 2001, like Arthur C. Clarke, like if it gets them interested in that, I think this would be a good stepping stone, especially for younger kids. Like,
but even as a kids game, like I felt like the parts of the story were intriguing me as well. Like I was having a lot of fun playing it.
I'm not saying that it's degraded because it's for kids. I'm just saying that it's a good way to start, and it's not taken away, like you said, being an adult.
Yeah, it's a good entry point.
So I started with Mason as my main character. Did you start with Mason as well?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I was tempted to start with the character that was kind of like the blonde kid that was kind of like a troublemaker.
Yeah, he was funny.
I thought he'd be funny, but then I was like, I wasn't sure how choosing the pilot at the beginning was going to potentially affect the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when they describe the characters, they say things like, the one character always, gets himself into trouble, but always seems to get out, without ever, a scratch or whatever. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that means that he's going to control differently, or if the difficulty is going to be a little harder if I play as him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just ended up picking sort of the default character, but now I'm realizing that I probably could have picked any of the characters. It really wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, pretty much I picked Mason just because he was the person in all the promotional material. So he seemed like the game was made for him. So I wanted to take it from that perspective, especially since the starter packs come with him. So he's pretty much the one that everyone will play. So
although a lot of people on Switch will be playing as Fox McCloud.
Yeah, why not? I would do that as well. So you talked about the gameplay being different for different characters. Well, we should probably just even talk about the gameplay in general. What do you think of it in a general sense?
So it is very Star Fox like.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the game, it could be spent like basically on the surface of a planet, flying around, shooting at aliens, collecting resources and things. There is that No Man's Sky mechanic where you can scan life forms, you can pick up resources, you can do some base building elements, and you can actually fly. You can actually hold down R1 and you can fly in the air, and then you can actually leave the planet. You can fly right out of the atmosphere and go to another planet, which is all very No Man's Sky.
Yeah, it really feels like they took No Man's Sky as like a base idea, which is pretty much what No Man's Sky was when it was released, a base idea. And then they took it and they improved upon it. Like they made it better. They included the story that's compelling, and they made all these, like they made the scanning more fun than No Man's Sky was. Like I think the idea of an expansive universe was really cool and neat for No Man's Sky. But the fact that this game, Starlink, is set in one universe, one solar system, and then only a set number of planets.
No Man's Sky was way too big for that. It almost felt overwhelming.
Yeah. And it just nothing seemed unique. Like the good thing about this game is like you're gonna visit many different planets, and each planet looks different. And there's a desert planet, and then there's this is like Star Wars, where you get a desert planet, you get a cold planet, and then you get a hot planet and stuff like that. Or, well, desert and hot would be the same. I should have said a gas planet or something like that. Because there is a gas planet,
and a sand planet, and a hot planet. And
so each one is different, and I thought it was really neat, like because you had the core mechanic for this game is that you're going to be swapping out weapons so that you can fight certain enemies with certain weapon types. So for example, you'll have like a fire enemy, so you'll switch on to like ice weapons and like kinetic weapons, which are just like bullets or missiles.
Or you can actually adjust the depending on what element you attach to a particular, maybe like a more neutral enemy. They blast them with ice first, and then you can blast them immediately afterwards with fire, and it ends up doing additional damage.
Yeah, so that would be an elemental combo. You can also freeze people or make them hot and then shoot them with a kinetic one, and you get a different type of combo. Like the combinations are endless. I'm putting that air quotes because there's only 12 weapon types. But by not 12 weapon types, there's 12 weapons. I think 3 or 4 weapon types, which is really neat. But because of the toy to life element, you can actually, if you have the toys, you can take off the weapons off the actual ship that you have connected to your controller and swap it out with different ones, and it'll happen in real time on screen. So that's an interesting aspect of the game that unfortunately we didn't get to try.
Yeah, but you're actually like you get to choose between either doing it digitally. Now, if you have the physical version, maybe you know this more than me. If you have the physical version, can you still swap them out digitally, or are you forced to do the digital?
So you can swap them out in the menu, or you can swap them out toy-wise. Personally, I think it's faster for me to swap in the menu using buttons than finding things on a desk and be like, okay,
Yeah.
which one of these is the kinetic one? Because
Yeah, I'm being shot at. Where's the fire weapon? Oh my goodness.
luckily it pauses when you switch weapons.
Yeah.
The looking at the menu, like they have all the weapon types on it, right? And it tells you the damage types and all of that. But if you have the toy, you're gonna be looking at it and be like, which one's this? Is this the missile one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. At least for me as an adult that's easily confused, I feel like that would be a little bit harder. It'd be neat
you lose them in the couch too, right?
Exactly. Like I'm gonna keep my coffee table free of stuff just for this game. That's not gonna happen.
like we're not necessarily knocking the toys. We're just looking at it as like realistically, what's a better gaming experience, right? Is one maybe more of a novelty than the other, right?
I feel like as a child you'll probably enjoy it more just because you have the toy in front of you.
Yeah.
But as an adult that's running out of space for all of his collectibles, I think that's just gonna be a worse thing for me.
Yeah. We've still got plastic instruments from the whole Guitar Hero Rock Band era.
Yep, they're sitting behind me. So what did you think of the combat versus the flying? How did it feel for you?
Okay, so I was trying. I'm still trying to master the combat. I know there's a lot of strafing that happens in the game. You end, especially since a lot of the combat takes place sort of at ground level, and so even though you're in a flying, like you're in a ship that's flying, it's almost more like you're driving.
You're hovering for sure because you cut your engines, right?
Yeah, and so you're hovering around. So in order to not get shot at, you sort of have that left and right that you can go. You can't really, and there's a jumping mechanic too. There's a button you can press to
and a dodge mechanic, right?
Yeah, and so there's a bunch of that to kind of master. I don't think I've done any combat like from the air. Like I don't think I tend to do any of that, like trying to fly up and shoot.
Yeah. You don't really not while you're on the planets. You don't really shoot anything while flying. Like it is definitely all on the ground. The only time you fight in the air is when you're in space.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're fighting like pirates in the asteroid fields between planets and stuff.
Yeah.
But I also had the opportunity, and I don't know if you had a chance to try this, but I did some co-op on this game.
No, I didn't. I wanted to. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So I did some split screen co-op with my son, and so he's 7. And he was, so this is just he was having a little bit of a difficulty. So this game is a dual stick control, and so he was having a little bit of difficulty getting used to that. And I know that's a standard sort of control option for games. So it may just take him time to get used to, being able to control the camera and the direction that he's going all at the same time. But once he mastered, or at least got pretty good at that, we were able to play it co-op, and it split the screen for us, and we're basically each in a ship, and we're flying around, and we're basically doing missions together. But there is sort of a caveat to that. You can't get too far away from each other. I think it's like 300 units is as far away as you can get from, and I could be wrong on that, but there's a specific number of units, and once you go too far away from your partner, it turns, like, your screen turns red, and you get this Starlink weakened, and it sort of forces you to return, and it's probably a memory management thing. You probably can't have the being at different parts of the planet on the same PlayStation on the same screen at the same time. But as long as we stayed in the same screen, the same area, we were able to fight battles together and fly around and look for resources and everything. It was really cool.
I think having you guys linked closer is probably a good thing for this game, mostly because it's planet wide, right? You don't want to be on the other side of the planet and your buddy's gonna need help. So keeping that close.
It's a good reminder if you go too far away from your teammates, right?
Yeah, it's not Destiny where you can just screw off to the other side of the the map, like when I play with you. What do you think of the swapping weapon element?
It's kind of neat. I liked how sort of tutorializing it. It sort of gave you a hint of which like at the beginning, it gave you a hint of which items you should be using, which weapons you should be using, and so it was easy enough to. Now we're playing the digital version, so it's easy enough to just hit the triggers and swap out the weapons, and each of those weapons can be modded. Right? Did you play with any of the modding stuff?
Oh yeah, I've been creating mods now. I don't know if you've gone that far. Where you can.
I think I just unlocked the option to do that.
So that adds a whole new element, like especially to the game, because you can make the kickback less, or you can make your ship stronger and stuff like that.
Or you
So
could do like rapid fire, or like additional heat on your heat guns or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
it's a great way of adding more value to your weaponry, especially since there are only 12 weapons.
I'm just looking at the Nintendo website right now. There's actually a further deluxe edition that has 15 weapons.
Oh, maybe we have 15 weapons. I can't remember.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe
I haven't
12 is the
counted.
one that you start with, and then
So there's like the main digital version, and then there's a digital deluxe version, which includes 6 starships, 10 pilots, and 15 weapons.
yeah, nice. So we talked about the combat, the flying. Would you wait? You said you didn't do much of the space combat.
Just a little bit. I've only been to a couple of the planets so far. I thought it was pretty good. Like the
Mhm.
space combat was pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's smooth. The only issue I had with it is that once you figure out that you don't really need, like, they're rapid fire bullets, right?
Yeah,
For kinetic weapons. Once you figure out that every missile weapon type is better in space combat, you don't want to use anything else, because the
yeah,
homing missiles just follow your targets.
yeah.
All the missiles. So pretty much when I'm in space, I don't switch my weapons anymore. It's just missile, or missile and kinetic, like bullets.
So
It's
do you,
pretty
do you
funny.
feel like that maybe like you're thinking the game should have had maybe enemies that were immune to the seeking missiles or something, just to
I
mix
don't know.
things up?
I think it's more of the, like, this isn't like Battlefront where you can target an enemy, like you can hold L2 and target onto them. You have to actually follow with your sticks.
Yeah,
And so it's a little bit weirder. And I think having the homing missiles actually home things is probably easier, especially if this is a kid's game,
yeah,
to go for that. But I found it a little repetitive. There are a lot of things in this game that are repetitive. Like, it might feel that way for me and for you as a seasoned gamer, but like kids will probably be fine. Like, let's talk about the repetitive nature of this game. When you get to different planets, there always seems to be the same thing over and over again. Like, you go to an observatory or a refinery, and they'll be like, "Hey, help me fetch this thing over there and bring it back."
yeah.
And then
Go get this thing. Go blow up this thing.
yeah, and then you'll go to the next place, and they'll ask you to grab something and bring it back, and then you could upgrade those bases and whatnot to get you more money. But it's a lot of fetch quests and base clearing and stuff. Not to say that's a bad thing, but
Well,
you
it
know,
is probably more geared toward a younger audience,
yeah.
that may prefer sort of that sort of rigid kind of structure in their gaming, right?
Hmm.
My son has actually just gotten into Plants vs Zombies,
Hmm.
so this is his current favorite game, and like that's probably about as repetitive as you can get, right? You plant your
Yeah.
sunflowers, you plant your, and then there are obviously a bunch of different plants you can use, but he likes the idea of just getting really good at that sort of core mechanic.
Yeah.
And so I could see younger kids, 10 years old, 12 years old, that really want to get really good at that. I have to go to this planet. I have to upgrade all of these bases. I have to find all the important resources, make sure that everything, that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do so I can be super powerful.
Hmm.
You
I
know?
think I think the thing that makes this game better, like it makes it better for me, the repetitive parts of it, is that the story is still compelling while you're doing the
Yeah.
repetitive tasks. Like, I look back at Mass Effect Andromeda, and a lot of that was fetch quests as well. But at least I care about the story more than I cared about that
Yeah.
story, which is sad for me to say as a Mass Effect fan.
Oh,
We're both, me and Mike here, are big Mass Effect fans. We both have
huge.
Normandy sitting right by each other. Wait, yours might be in the other room, but
It's in the other room, but yes,
yeah,
I do in fact have a
we can both have them. And for those who are wondering, this isn't a game of Mass Effect length. This campaign is only about 20 hours long, at least the main campaign, with some of the side quests. So there's a lot of side quests on each of the planets. So don't feel like the game is just gonna be over in a
Yeah.
flash. There's a lot to do in it.
And is this something that they're looking at like developing into further? Like are they talking about like a season pass or multiple DLC packs or
I
anything
feel
like
like this is a game that they're gonna keep releasing, because they'll want to release more toys. I don't think they would have made this first wave of toys without planning a second
that?
wave
Yeah.
and then more DLC for that. They haven't announced anything as of yet, but maybe I'll talk to our contact over at Ubisoft, and we'll see what they're planning.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
because I could see them, potentially adding like additional storylines, maybe a few new planets, like, and especially if you're able to sort of continue where you ended off. with maybe some additional upgrades and stuff. I could see having more fun with the DLC on this game.
Yeah.
Okay, so after letting my son play this game, my wife, calls me over and she's like, what's this I hear about him playing a game where he's flying around shooting at things? I thought we weren't going to let him play like these violent games with guns. And I had to sort of talk to her a little bit about the idea of sort of fantasy violence and the sort of science fiction. Like it's very much a fantasy kind of experience with these guns. The guns are over the top. They're cartoonish. The things that you're shooting at are robots and giant aliens and things that look like bugs and slugs and creatures and things like that. And so it's not the same as that he's just sort of playing a game like Duke Nukem back in the day where he's just walking around with a handgun just shooting at things.
Yeah, there's definitely they're taking a visual cue from Fortnite. Like all the character designs are very cartoony.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel as dire and drastic as I'm comparing it a lot to Mass Effect Andromeda. I thought I'd be comparing a lot more to No Man's Sky, but it's definitely more Mass Effect Andromeda. Like that's way more serious. But this does have the feel like it's so lighthearted, and it like the great thing about this game is that it has this diverse crew. So everyone's a little bit different, and they're all different backgrounds. So like me being a person of Asian heritage, it's nice seeing characters on there that are not just your stereotypical Caucasian heroes. Like I may have accidentally picked a Caucasian hero to play as, but like there's an option to pick a Samoan character, and like
there's lots of female characters.
Lots of female characters, and they're all interesting female characters.
Yeah.
Like the second in command is a female on this ship.
Oh yeah, and she's always sending you messages and talking to you through your ship's communication system.
And she's not like a hard ass. Like she is a hard ass in the game. Like she's tough, but it's from a caring point of view, right? It's just really nice.
And even though they're dealing with like a stressful situation, it doesn't seem like it's really putting much stress on the gamer. Like everything is like, oh no, our leader has been kidnapped. We have to save him. But by all means, like take your time flying around these planets and scanning, giant like brontosaurus.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they make it sound like, oh, we what do we do next? Oh, let's it's more kind of exciting than it is sort of like a downer kind of thing that Mass Effect Andromeda happened to be.
It's funny because you'll be going to the next like main story mission, and you'll see a little ship that's like, help me, and you're like, yeah, why not? I'll go over there and help that person.
You hold down the button, you help them, they say thank you. It's teaching kids about politeness. Maybe some adults could learn a few things too about politeness.
So let's go into the final word for this whole game. Like, is this a game that you would recommend? Like,
I wasn't sure what to expect at first. Like I thought, okay, Star Fox. Like, I mean, I played Star Fox on, like, going back to the Super Nintendo, and I played it on the Wii U. So I've sort of played lots of Star Fox, and that's honestly what I thought this was. But it's so much more than that, and in a really good way. Like Star Fox is its own fun thing. But this has so many different elements and lots of areas of customization. It sort of makes me want to just keep going back and even playing for just a little while. And if it can help teach kids about some of these game mechanics at a young age, then when they get a little older and get into some of the more complex games, they'll already have some of those background skills.
Yeah, and it's not just introducing them to those gameplay mechanics, but also the sci-fi tropes that come with this type of game. Like, this is a great giant space adventure, and it is an adventure. Like, it's not it feels epic in a fun way, and like with lots of different exploration aspects. I think that's a great thing to give kids, especially when a lot of people nowadays, at least young kids, are playing things like Fortnite where the point is killing each other. Like, this is a good alternative to that, and I hope they do continue this game, and I hope it does well this Christmas season.
Yeah, like I've been playing a lot of Destiny recently. I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man, and I want to get into Red Dead Redemption. Like, there's a lot of these serious games in a variety of different genres that have come out recently, and this one sort of appeared, and it had a certain charm to it, and so I would definitely recommend this one.
So I feel like we should come up with a rating system, but I'm definitely just going to give it a thumbs up. Not that you can see it because we're not recording the video from this, but definitely thumbs up to this game.
Thumbs up.
Well, that's it for us at Geeks with Kids. What did you think of Starlink Battle for Atlas? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. We're Geeks with Kids, and we will see you next time.